Right, welcome back to the channel. You find me in my car today on my way back home from Scotland. I've just been driving through the Scottish borders, over the hills and all that. And I thought, I'm going to use this time actually to give a little update onto my weight loss injection. So if you're new around here, my name is Freddy. I am almost 49 years old. I will be 49 in August. I live in the northeast of England, up in Northumberland, and I've been using weight loss injections for 31 weeks. So 31 weeks ago, I was weighing in at 18 stone 6 and struggling to lose weight. And I have experienced weight loss before using other diets, but they've always failed in the end, and I've never quite cracked the code. Now, the reason I went onto Manjaro is I tried all sorts, like I say, and you can go back and watch the videos. There's 2 years worth of videos of me going through my fitness regime, if you like, where I've been out running and doing lots of events and improving myself and all of this sort of stuff over 2 years. But two and a bit years ago, when I started the channel, I was actually 18 stone 9 pounds. And 2 years later, when I made the decision to start using Manjaro, I was 18 stone 6 pounds. Now that was obviously not a good performance in terms of weight loss. I didn't do good, didn't do well. 3 pounds, you know, people can go and lose 3 pounds in less than a week. I've been looking at weight loss injections for about a year, and then after 2 years of fitness, I decided, you know what, it's time to pull the trigger and see if we can make this work and help me lose weight. And to talk about the sort of things that I was doing in terms of my fitness, it was basically everything from a 5k, like a park run, all the way up to ultra marathons, where I ran 55 miles at Endure 24 this month last year. Now I'm actually going back there in a couple of weeks' time to attempt to do it again and see if I can get further, and I have openly said it's 75 miles is the target. But like I say, 7 months ago I decided, right, we're going to start using weight loss injections. I chose the Manjaro brand, and within that 7 months, I've dropped 51 pounds, which leads us all the way up to today, to where we are right now. Now, if you watched last week's video, you'll remember that I said I was having to look at adjusting my dose. I'd got up to the 12.5 milligrams. It was making me feel very dizzy sometimes, and a couple of those dizzy spells that I had were actually really quite nasty. I thought I was going to collapse and faint and whatever else. Yeah, so I've made that decision last week to drop down, and I dropped down to 10 milligrams, and within, instantly really, the dizzy spells have stopped. I've not had any more dizzy spells down on that 10 milligrams. Yeah, so that was the right decision for me to make. This week has been a pretty good week, pretty steady. The suppression has still been where I would hope it would be, so 10 milligrams is nice and, well, it's probably the right dose for me, to be fair. I probably did go up a little bit too soon. But I'm back on the 10, and things are all moving in the right direction, and I'm quite happy. Now, weight loss this week, let's be honest, I haven't really weighed myself this week, because I think for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm actually not interested in doing that. I'm really interested in just getting my mindset ready now for Endure 24 in well, 2 or 3 weeks time, whatever it is. I really have got to start thinking about that more in the forefront of my mind, rather than worrying about my weight. Now, that doesn't mean I'm trying to just forget about the diet and all of that. No, of course, the diet is still happening. The diet is still being worked on. I'm just not going to be focused so much on what the results of that look like. Right? I'm not really concerned. If I get to Endure 24 and I'm a couple of pounds heavier, am I going to be bothered? No, I'm not, because the whole point of me dropping down the dose was firstly to get rid of those dizzy spells I was experiencing, but also to enable me to eat. I am hoping that it lifts the suppression slightly, and that is because I'm going to be running for 24 hours. I need to be able to make sure that I can keep eating throughout that whole event. Now, the idea is it's a 5-mile loop, or an 8-kilometer loop, that you run around as many times as you like, or as many times as you can, within 24 hours. So my tactic for that is to ensure that every single lap I eat. So every time I finish a lap, I go to the tent, I grab some food, and then I go back out and I keep on running. I don't think I'd be able to do that if my suppression is all the way up high, and then it's just gonna make me either really poorly or I'm just gonna fail when it comes to the event. So yeah, that's why I've been dropping my dose. Now to jump forward to this week, I've actually already taken my next injection and I've dropped my dose again. So that was yesterday, I want to say. Yes, it was yesterday. I dropped my dose down to 7.5 milligrams. And so far so good. Still feel like I'm getting the same suppression, but it's only been since yesterday. We'll see how the next few days go. Because one thing I have noticed when I am taking a weight loss injection, that I take the injection, let's say I take it today and tomorrow, and maybe the day after, I don't really feel too much different. But then I do, there's my phone going. So one thing I have noticed is when I take my injection, let's say I have it today, then today, tomorrow, and potentially the next day, I don't really feel any different. Seems to be a few days in that the suppression starts to really hit again. So yeah, I want to make sure that the closer I get to Endure 24, the less Manjaro is in my system, I guess. So the idea being I'm on 7.5 milligrams now. Next week, I'm hoping that I can drop that down again to 5 milligrams. We'll see how this week goes before I make this final decision, because ideally the week before Endure, I would actually not take any injection and skip a week. And then come back in maybe at 5 and actually see how I feel at that point. Because what I want to do, I'm obviously getting closer to my target weight now, right? I reckon I've probably got somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds to go before I will say, yeah, I'm quite happy there now. Because like people were saying to me, you look well now, you maybe you're at the ideal weight, and maybe stop where you are. And I understand why they say that, but I also think there's a bit of, I don't know what that word is, but you know, where people are being kind, but they're not realizing that they're not helping. It's like when someone says to you, like when I was 18 stone, people will be like, oh, but you look great, you look fine, you know, you don't need to lose weight. Of course I did. I was 18.5 stone. Of course I needed to lose weight. They're just being kind and polite, and it doesn't actually help. I know people think that helps, but it really doesn't help when you know that you're overweight and someone's saying you're not. I don't have body dysmorphia. I was overweight. And I understand why they would say, like, now is oh, you're getting to the point where maybe you should stop taking them now, Freddy. But no, I do still have a belly on me, okay? I've lost weight. I've lost a significant amount of weight. But I'm still 14.5 stone-ish, somewhere around there. So I am still overweight. And I can still afford to lose some weight. And I'm going to. I'm still going to, like I say, I still want to lose another, somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds, I think. I'm at a really happy weight right now, but I still want to get rid of my belly. And that's the thing, right? So when you want to come off it, which I'm hoping that I do soon, you have to consider how are you going to come off it. Obviously, to stop dead is, I won't say dangerous, but it's a risky move, right? To suddenly say, right, no more weight loss injections. I'm going to cold turkey it and see what happens. That's where I've heard a lot of like horror stories where suddenly people are gaining back all the weight they lost and more. That ain't happening with me. I'm not doing that. I don't care what happens. I will not allow that to happen. So I have to try and consider, right, what's the way I'm going to do it. Now, in an ideal world, you would titrate back down and get yourself off it. But again, in that same ideal world, you'd be titrating probably monthly. So you'd go from 12.5, then you'd have a month of 10, a month of 7.5, a month of 5, etc., etc. Well, I'm taking that concept, but just speeding it up. So I'm going to come down weekly. And again, that is just to make it easy for me at this event, so I can eat as much as I need to eat. But what I'm hoping is, after the event, and I jump back onto taking my injections, and I will jump back on probably at 5 milligrams because I've only missed 1 week. I'm actually going to try and see how that feels for a while and see and really monitor it, because maybe I don't need to go up. maybe I don't know, maybe I get to the after the event and think, whoa, I'm feeling really good still, let's not go back on it. I actually really hope that happens, because if it does, then I'll try not to go on it. And I know that puts me at risk of, if I do want to go on it, having to start again at 2.5 milligrams. But that's actually something I would be willing to do, because now I've lost a bulk of the weight, I will happily use a low dose and just see how I get on. You know, I don't know, I'm very much blabbing, I'm probably not making a lot of sense, but it's like I've been doing the whole way. I'm just shooting from the hip and seeing what happens. So we'll find out. We'll find out near the time when we'll find out once Endure is finished, and we see how we feel and make a decision. But for this week and the last week, talk about side effects. I'm back to not having any. Literally not a single side effect that I can think of I've had this week. Say that the one that I was scared about is the dizziness. That's gone. I don't think there's been any other side effects, to be honest. There mustn't be, otherwise I'll be able to think of it. No side effects. So really, really happy, really good. Yeah, we're in a really good place. And actually, what's really cool is more and more clothes are now not fitting. So, some of my clothes that I'd kept previously that were too small for me are now getting to the point where they're like too big for me. And really cool news, I don't think I've ever mentioned, I think I mentioned a while ago about what jean size I'm able to buy now, but actually I'm really noticing now in the size tops that I can wear. So at my biggest I was wearing a double XL. Pretty much in any brand I would wear a double XL. Yeah, and let's be honest, some of those double XLs were questionable whether or not they were getting tight, but I was in a double XL. Now this is really freaking me out, because now I'm at the point in my life where I'm actually not sure what size I am, because in my mind I'm a double XL or an XL, but when I'm putting clothes on and trying them on, I'm finding large to be quite comfortable now. I think my brain hasn't caught up with my body, and I still find it a little bit that I don't believe that I'm a large. I'm like, yeah, I'm going out and I'm buying extra large, taking it home and thinking like, Freddy, it doesn't fit, it's too big, take it back and get a large. That has happened a couple of times where I've genuinely just bought something off the peg, taken it home, tried it on at home, and been like, why don't you bloody try it in the shop? Now you've got to take it back. So I'm a large, which is awesome. I don't remember the last time I fit into a large. Like, it's been many, many years since I fit into a large. I actually, how cool is this? Right, well that's twice now I've had a phone call while I was recording this video. So I've lost my trail of thought, but I think it was something to do with being a size large top now. So that's been really cool, really good news. And yeah, who knows? I may get down to a medium. I doubt it, but yeah, I doubt it, to be fair. And that's not a target either. I'm happy to be a large. I'm very happy to be a large. Right, so that's where I'm at. I don't know that I've got much more to say about what's happened this week. Yeah, it's been a really cool week. I was down in Reading at Endure 24, Reading on the weekend just gone. I was down there volunteering, standing on a checkpoint for 7 hours or so, which was really good fun. I think it was like 7.5 hours. Really good fun. Really, really good fun. It was raining a lot, which wasn't good fun. Less fun for the runners though, let's be honest. Runners were saying to me, God, it's so hard for you guys just standing around in the rain all day. We're like, well, not really. We've got big coats on and we're keeping warm, we're keeping dry. You poor buggers have to keep running with it. So it's, yeah, it was really inspiring actually to watch. And I can't wait to be one of them in 2 or 3 weeks time down in Leeds. Right, so that is me for week 31. There's my little update. I don't even know what I've told you. I am just spitballing while I'm driving. So there may not be much value in this video, but I hope there is. So thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching. Let me know below how you're getting on. If you are interested in a discount code, provided you are a family or friend, please hit me up, drop me a message. You can send me a message on Instagram, you can email me, you can Facebook message me. The easiest way to get me is probably Instagram. Let's be honest, it's the platform that I'm probably on the most. And if you're after a discount code to get £40 off your first order, then please let me know and I will send it to you. We've got to be family and friends for me to do that, which is why you've not seen it on the screen, and it is not in the description down below. We're not allowed to advertise it in those ways anymore. So thanks for watching, thanks for sticking it around, and if you're having a bad day, just remember, keep it positive and you will be all right. I'll speak to you soon.